Well, hello, my 1Ls, and we're back here again, going to add and subtract fractions. Last time we just learned how to get common denominators using equivalent fractions. So now we're going to talk about actually adding and subtracting our benchmark fractions. And it has to do with what we did last time. That's why that was a part 1 and this is a part 2. So notice that we say that we're actually going to perform mathematical operations using the benchmark fractions. You can't add and subtract fractions until they are all in the same size pieces. So for instance, this question I have here, and notice that I've got the pieces to go with it. I'm going to do it in numbers and I'm going to do it in symbols. So here we have 2/8 plus 3/2. So this is my 2/8. These are all eighths of a piece of a pie, and these are 3/2 of a piece of a pie. Now I can't really add them together because they're not the same thing. Here I've got these green little pieces and here I got blue big pieces, and you can't add them together. But what I do want you to notice is that I can split this up like this so that this little piece here is now actually the same size as this little piece here. So that means that this piece has 1, 2, 3, 4/8 in it. So that's actually going to help me out. I can add eighths and eighths. If I've got 2/8 here, then 4 here, now I've got 6. But it's not just 4, I've got more over here. And in fact, what this is going to look like is we're going to take this and turn it into 4/8, and we're going to take this and turn it into 4/8, and we're going to take this and turn it into 4/8, and what we have now is something that we can figure it out. If I take 2/8 and I add all of these eighths, so how many eighths do I have here? I've got 4 of them here, and I've got 3 sets of them, so that's 12/8, and then 2/8 here. So 12/8 and 2/8 is actually 14/8. So the answer to here, maybe I better not use yellow. The answer to here is 14/8. Now, do we have to draw a picture every time we do that? Nope, we don't, because we didn't draw pictures every time we got common denominators. So let's take a look at this one and see what we have to do. Well, we just want to write these two things so we have common denominators. So this one has the big denominator, so I'm going to leave it the way it is. We're going to leave it as 2/8. This one needs a big denominator. I need to turn that into an 8. How do I turn a 2 into an 8? Well, we have to multiply by 4. And remember, if I multiply the bottom by 4 to turn that into 8, I'm going to multiply the top by 4 too. So the top becomes 12. So now we've got 12/8. And when I add them together, 2 plus 12 is 14/8. And that's as simple as it gets. But it does get a little bit harder if we have mixed numbers. So, and it's only a little bit harder. We have to turn the mixed numbers into improper fractions before we do it. And notice that this one is actually a subtraction, not an addition. So let's turn these into mixed numbers. Remember what we learned last class? We have to take the whole number and multiply it by the denominator and then add how many pieces are left. So we have 3 times 4 plus 1, and those are going to be quarters, and then we're going to subtract 1 times 8 plus 5, and those are going to be eighths, because remember the denominators don't change. So this means I have 12 plus 1 is 13 quarters, and I'm subtracting 8 plus 5 is 13/8. Okay, so somebody might say, well, 13, take away 13, I've got nothing left. No, because this is 13 quarters and these are 13/8. So we've got to get this to be an 8 as well. Remember, we want to go to the bigger one. We got to make them both say bigger. I can turn a 4 into an 8, so I don't need to change the 8s. How do I change 4 into 8? Well, I have to multiply by 2. But if I multiply the bottom by 2 to get a new numerator, I got to multiply it by 2 as well. So my new numerator is going to be 26. 6. That's 13 times 2. And you can use a calculator for that if you want. So now that I've got them saying the same thing, I just have to subtract the tops. 26 subtract 13 is 13. And remember, they're all the same size pieces, so the denominator stays the same. The size of the piece doesn't change, so the size of the denominator doesn't change either. So this is 13/8. And I believe that's all we're going to talk about right now. Yep, there we go. Complete the worksheet and ask any questions that you need to when you need to. Okay, that's that.